What is going on, everybody? Back on the New England Shakeup. Alex and Dodo back again, yet again, for another Patriots season. We are back, Cam, kind of with some sad news today from Patriots Nation, but nonetheless, I think we have to deep dive into it. Obviously, yesterday, the 53-man roster comes out. There's a lot of things to look forward to with this Patriots team for this upcoming season, right? There's also a lot of things that me and you have both talked about over the last couple months that we were kind of expecting out of the Kraft, one, kind of expecting out of Rabel, two, and kind of expecting these rookies that we picked up in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round, wherever they were drafted, that they make an impact. With that said, Cam, we have some sad news to break on the shakeup today. We do have some sad news. Our boy, Kendrick Bourne, has chosen to go to another team. Now, we're upset, obviously. We're upset because KB's our guy, and we would much rather have him on the Patriots than any other team, right? But Cam, as we both know, we are not casual to this conversation, right? Kendrick Bourne's a good receiver when he's healthy, right? He definitely could have made an impact on this team, right? But me and you both talked about it all through training camp. How many receivers are they going to keep? How many receivers are they going to let go? How many players are really going to be on this roster at the end of training camp? Cam, with that said, how much do you look into the Kendrick Bourne situation from today, and how much do you look at what it means for a totality as a whole as the Patriots are going forward for this season?
I think the two things that it really does is it just cements that Diggs is going to be the wide receiver one, because that's what we were talking about the whole season, is we kind of thought that a healthy Kendrick would be able to rival him, if not be the wide receiver one. So, because he basically was last year. That's what we were talking about the whole year, is he played like half as much as some of the other receivers and had like the same stats, if not better. So, between that and then I basically just hope the best for him. I hope he goes to like a Baltimore or maybe like a Cincy or a team where he's with some other receivers that can get something done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Cam, this wouldn't be the shakeup, right, if we weren't shouting out our sponsors. So Del Frisco's Double Edge Steakhouse down there in Boston, Massachusetts. Thank you guys so much for the sponsor. One of the best steakhouses in all of Boston. Very much exotic drinks, very much exotic steaks, very much just an exotic atmosphere. But nonetheless, it's a great place to go with your family. It is on the pricier end, but if you're willing to pay the price, go down there, 200 Sweet Avenue down there in Boston, Massachusetts. The best steakhouse in all of Boston right now. Cam, but we do have some other news with the Patriots and with the 53-man roster. And me and you, especially the last 2 weeks, have been talking about the fact that Kyle Duggar is still on the roster. Now, we kind of knew when training camp happened, and we saw Craig Woodson, and we saw Jalen Phillips or Jalen Hawkins, and we saw those guys playing over him in a role at safety, right? You would expect, somebody that we're paying $15 million a season is going to be a starter. Touch on Kyle Duggar for a second, and touch on why you think he did stay on the 53-man roster. Do you think it was more of a money thing or more of like a team-friendly thing? Like they want a good backup in that role?
I think it could be both of those things, but I kind of see it more as having a piece to trade. I don't know exactly what they would get for him, but you see some of the receivers going, like, Kendrick Bourne and some of the other guys that either wanted to get cut or got cut because the Patriots wanted to cut them. I feel like he could be a piece that gets traded maybe for a receiver, like him and a pick for a receiver. I don't know exactly what you could get for Duggar, but I feel like he's somebody that would be on the trade block.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the thing. I think we both said the last couple of days, like, especially as, people started getting cut and things started happening, we were kind of under the impression, like, okay, are they going to trade Duggar and what's the package going to look like? And I think the biggest thing for me when I'm looking at Kyle Duggar is just like, obviously he was fighting through an injury last year with his ankle and obviously played through a lot of those games. And honestly, I think that screwed him in the long term for his position on this team because when you go and you draft a Craig Woodson in the fourth round, I mean, I think anybody from a third to a fifth, sixth round pick can be a starter in the NFL if they have the right scheme, the right coaching, and the right system. Craig Woodson looks amazing in training camp. He looks fast, he looks versatile, he looks strong, and he looks like that hard hitting safety that maybe after Jabril Peppers is gone in a couple of years, Craig Woodson fills that void. So with that said, Cam, we have a lot to look forward to for the Patriots for this season. But obviously, with the release of Bourne, with the things of Kyle Duggar, with the obviously the addition to the roster and Efton Chisholm, the preseason hero, it seems like for the New England Patriots this preseason, Efton Chisholm. Touch on Efton Chisholm and where you see his role breaking out now that Kendrick has been released. Are you looking at Efton Chisholm as possibly like a fantasy play?
I mean, I definitely see him as like the second to maybe third or fourth receiver. I'm still shocked that Polk got hurt, and I know Vrabel was
Yeah,
pissed that that got leaked. I kind of thought this was going to be his season. So I mean, you have like Polk out, some of the players that got cut. I mean, it's perfect for Efton Chisholm to kind of break out this year. I mean, him and Henderson are the two that I think could really break out. I mean, Henderson, that first play for New England was a kick return touchdown. I don't think anyone was expecting anything like that. Everyone kind of
definitely not.
thought he would be in Stevenson's shadow. Well, not everybody, but a lot of the media didn't think he was like worth the pick necessarily. And I think he's going to be like the second best rookie running back, if not the best, behind Janty.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think the biggest thing for me when I saw Travion Henderson, like in the first game, in the second game, and even he didn't play that much in the third game, but the first two games showed me that he's kind of got like that Alvin Kamara burst in him. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah,
once he makes that cut, he can go 60 yards to the house. He's kind of like Kamara. He's kind of like Saquon. He's kind of like McCaffrey, where he's that one cut back and bye, see you later. I'm going to the house. I'm looking at Ramondre, obviously, we talked about last year, obviously, when we were at the several games that we went to, and also throughout the offseason, the biggest problem with the running back room has been Ramondre fumbling, right? So, as much as like me and you love Ramondre, Travion is going to be able to wake things up in him. Now he doesn't lose his starting running back spot. Now, if Ramondre does lose that starting running back spot, we can beg to ask more questions. But for right now, it looks like Ramondre is going to be the starting running back for the 2025 season. Kim, but how many times we saw him fumble last year? That scare you a little bit?
oh yeah. I mean, I feel like it's going to be like how Drake May wasn't listed as the starter last year and then took over. That's how I see
Yeah,
this happening with Ramondre, just because we drafted somebody who didn't fumble all of his collegiate career. I don't remember how many games Henderson played, but somewhere between like 40 and 60 or like
yeah,
30 and 60 games or whatever. Somebody that doesn't fumble on like that volume of snaps and just plays in general of like the volume he had without fumbling. I feel like he's definitely somebody that's going to etch out Stevenson at some point, and I feel like he's another one like Duggar that could maybe be traded. I don't know who would necessarily want Stevenson. I don't know what teams he could really start on if it's not New England, but I
yeah,
feel like Henderson and Gibson are good enough where Gibson can be the number two running back he was last year. What's changing, honestly, is we just got another running back. I mean, I think having all three of them is going to be good for depth, but I could see him getting traded and then them kind of just moving somebody else around.
yeah, yeah. And also, obviously, he didn't make the 53-man roster, but we had talked about him in preseason a little bit. But what did you think of Rand Larison in the preseason? I mean, that other running back, obviously, he went undrafted, but he's obviously going to make a role for himself on the practice squad, you would assume, right? So, with that said, if you do trade a Ramondre Stevenson because you have this dynamic back in Travion Henderson, you would expect that you're getting enough value back for the player, right? So Cam, with that said, like who is or what pick or what round of pick or player for that matter or position for that matter, if you're getting rid of Ramondre Stevenson, right? Are you bringing in a defensive player or are you just trying to get a pick out of them? Just be honest.
I think you're trying to just get a pick. I mean, anywhere from like fourth to seventh, I feel like would be fair. I don't really know what his market is nowadays. I feel like you got to let him, like how they do in other sports, you got to let him kind of get back on his feet before you trade him. And I know that's kind
Yeah.
of shitty to say, but that's what most like good teams do when they have a player that's on the downhill. You don't try and trade him at his like very worst. You would try and see what you can. I don't know. Let him get a few touchdowns, get a 100-yard game or two before you try and trade him. But I would see either like the pick I said before, like a fourth to a seventh, or a defensive player, somebody who's not like a necessarily a starter, somebody that might be like a
Yeah.
second string.
Yeah. Yeah. And I completely agree with you. I think it's like a day three pick maybe for Ramondre Stevenson right now. It's not that I don't like him as a player or what he does as a player. It's just the fumble issues when you're a running back is a big issue. It would be one thing if you weren't catching the ball. Okay, big deal. Derrick Henry doesn't catch the ball that much. Braylon Allen on the Jets doesn't catch the ball that much. You can just be a pure running back. You don't have to pass catch. I mean, it's great to do that now in the NFL and to have that element in your offense, but it's not it's not like needed. Like you can get away with running the ball 25 times a game with a running back and not throwing him one single pass. I've seen it happen. But I agree with you. Ramondre Stevenson's probably a day three pick if he were to get traded right now, as it's presently constructed. I don't think he will, but we both know that we're high on the Patriots this year, but we're also like real, and we've also come to like reality of the situation, and we know that Mike Vrabel, not a first time head coach, but first time in New England and first time coaching for the franchise that he used to play for. So I'm asking you, do you think there's going to be like a little bit added more pressure than last year with Mayo because it is Vrabel?
Yeah, so there wasn't really any expectation with Gerard Mayo. That's kind of the thing that hurt him, I feel like, is that there wasn't any expectation. And then at the end, he, instead of basically guaranteeing the number one or number two, he wins that game when there's no need to like win it. There was
Yeah.
just no need to do what he did to not guarantee the number one pick. But Vrabel, I feel like they're going to expect him to make the playoffs. That's going to be the one
Yeah,
thing where,
I do. I agree with you, dude. I think that it's put up or shut up time in New England. I mean, we said it in February after the season had ended and the Eagles had won the Super Bowl and all of this. We said, who's the next head coach going to be? Who's the next head coach going to be? Because we knew it wasn't going to be Mayo. We knew it wasn't going to be somebody like Anthony Lynn or somebody like that they had interviewed, right? We knew it was going to be Vrabel. We both had called that after the Super Bowl. We said, well, Vrabel's sitting right there. Why wouldn't you just go after a coach like that who's proven he can win with Ryan Tannehill? Just want to throw that out there to everybody that's watching the shakeup right now. Mike Vrabel took Ryan Tannehill to the AFC Championship. Just remember that. And we got Drake May. Just remember that. So anyway, getting to my point though, you kind of saw like the crafts wake up in the offseason. You saw Milton Williams get signed. You saw Robert Spillane get signed. You saw Diggs get signed. Cam, I can't tell you the last time the Patriots spent over 12 million a year on a receiver. Can you? It's been a long time. All of these things predicated with the dominoes that are falling, you're looking at the Patriots as a playoff team this year. Why? Because of the coach that they have. Not because of the players they got. Players are great. Players that they have are awesome. But it comes down to coaching. You can have all the players in the world. If you don't have coaching, you're not going to get anywhere. Like, prime example, 2010 Philadelphia Eagles. Michael Vick, LaShawn McCoy, Sean Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, Brent Sellers went 8-8 with all of those offensive weapons, with all of those pieces they had signed in the offseason. It's about the coaching. Now, Cam, what is Vrabel going to be able to do for this team that Mayo couldn't do? And I hate to say it, but the last 3 years of Belichick that Belichick couldn't do. What's Vrabel going to do?
I feel like he's just going to bring that like knowledge on defense. Like Gerard Mayo just wasn't necessarily like a genius on defense. Like he made a lot of good plays when he played, but Vrabel is going to be like way more intricate with like schemes, play calling, and just holding people accountable. Like he was already arguing with Drake May. Like if Vrabel is somebody that's not afraid to like break from the mold, if everyone's going left, he'll still go right. Mayo just let everyone kind of walk all over him. Vrabel's going to bring like security and discipline to the team that hasn't been there in years.
Yeah, and I think it's big that Vrabel started with Drake May, right? I mean, Cam, we have to be real about the situation. Like, yeah, he probably had the worst situation in football last year, right? Easily did. But he's still unproven, right? And everything that I've been saying on TikTok and doing our thing for our page over there, a lot of people are under the impression that he doesn't have to prove anything. Well, we will tell you as uncasual Patriots and Boston sports fans that he's got to show out this year and he's got to play good. And Josh McDaniels, I love saying that name, that he's back, but Josh McDaniels has to get the most that he wants out of Drake May. He's got to be able to run the ball with him. He's got to be able to get the short intermediate passing game that last year just was non-existent. We need to make sure that Drake is in the best situation possible. So with that being said, the interview that happened with Mike Vrabel around 1:30 today, he obviously was touching on the Kendrick Bourne situation and also the Marcus Epps situation with them getting released. But he was also touching on how they're going to continue to add pieces, whether through the waiver wire, whether it's through a trade. I mean, the other day we saw Elliott Wolf say something about a first and a third round pick and try to go get somebody. Kim, who do you think that player is that the Patriots are looking at that they keep saying we're going to try to bring in? Because it has to be something offensive, right?
I mean, as much as you think it might be something offensive, I think it's going to be one of the two names that we've been talking about a lot. Like, I personally think that it very well could be Micah Parsons. And then I think the player that you think it would be on the Bengals defensive line. But yeah, I think it's going to be potentially Micah Parsons.
And as much as we would both love to have Micah, right? I mean, shout out Penn State, one of the biggest Penn State fans here. Shout out to Micah for that, okay? Not shouting out him for being on the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys are just falling apart. I mean, Jerry's falling apart. Last year we saw the same thing with Dak Prescott, right? And Dak wasn't getting paid and wasn't getting paid and wasn't getting paid. Then they play a week 1 game against Cleveland, and just miraculously Dak Prescott is paid. Do you think that this is kind of the same like ploy that Jerry's doing with Micah Parsons? and Micah's kind of doing it the same with Jerry. Like, oh, you don't want to pay me? Like, I'm gonna go find somewhere else to go. What do you think about that whole situation over there in Dallas?
I mean, honestly, I think he'll sit out. I think if he doesn't get paid what he wants, he'll sit out. Let's say if it's 6 or 8 games, and once they're 2-4 or 3-5, he'll start to play. But I feel like he's willing to sit out for whatever money he wants.
Yeah, and we talked about this obviously when it had happened, but obviously Miles Garrett got an extension, right? Max Crosby got an extension, right? Trey Hendrickson just got a little bonus from the Bengals, right? The point I'm making is that I believe Miles was 40, Max was 41. I believe TJ Watt as well, when he signed his contract extension, was around 41 million a year. Micah's younger than all of them. So you would expect that Micah Parsons is probably going to ask for a $42 million a year contract to up those guys. One, he's 5, 6 years younger than most of them. He's probably got 8 or 9 years of good football left. I think Micah Parsons is probably a top 12 defensive player in football, right? But he's so hit or miss in the playoffs. Like, when they get to the playoffs, he has no success. He has no sacks, no forced fumbles. Damn, not even an interception. The first year when he was playing middle linebacker and outside backer and D end, and they were moving him all around. Micah Parsons, to me, is not worth multiple first round picks for the Patriots, at least. Now, if you're a team like the Packers, you're close, right? You're a playoff team the last couple of years. You're close. You need that bona fide stud for your defense, right? Not calling Xavier McKinney a scrub, but just saying. Putting somebody like Micah Parsons on that team elevates them, I think, way more than a team like us. And that's just me personally. Like, yes, Vrabel could do a lot of things with him and scheme a lot of things up for him. I just don't know if the Patriots are the right team for him, just because of how many pieces already we are paying on that defensive line. Barmore, Williams. We're gonna have to pay Keon White at some point, right? I don't know if he's worth 42 million a year, but maybe Cam, maybe just maybe Robert Kraft might have something to say about that. Maybe in the foreseeable future, we cannot touch on that. But Cam, is there anything else that you have today to talk about with this short episode for the Shakeup? Obviously, Cam and me, we both have things going on this weekend, so we're trying to bring you guys an episode. Uh, but the biggest thing that I would say is, what do you think is the biggest thing to look for as far as with the Micah situation? Like, for the Cowboys, you want a shrew of draft picks back, right? You would assume, right? But what team is dumb enough to do that? Give up multiple first round picks for a player like that?
I mean, I feel like there's multiple teams, like even how the Rams did to get to their Super Bowl, like how they kind of sold their future to get to where they're at. I feel like there's
Yep.
definitely a team, whether it's the Packers or maybe the Falcons. I feel like there's definitely a team. Have you been reading the comments? It says the Eagles are dumb enough was the newest comment.
Ha 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 ha. That's funny.
But
That's
that
funny.
honestly, like, imagine him on the Eagles. Like, I know that he was just joking by saying the Eagles are dumb enough, but
Yeah,
imagine the
that's
Eagles
funny.
trading for him.
That's
I mean, I
funny.
feel
That's
like, I
funny.
don't know, there's definitely a team that's dumb enough to trade
Yeah,
for him.
absolutely. Absolutely. There are definitely teams that are dumb enough, and there are also definitely there are definitely players that like you would just not want to go somewhere, right? And like, as much as I would love Micah on the Eagles, don't get me wrong. I just don't know if he's really worth that for that team. And honestly, like,
Newest comment, I'm serious. How many picks do you think it would take in the comments? How many picks do you think it would take for the Eagles to get Micah Parsons? Or how many do you think
I
they'd be willing to give up?
I think Howie Roseman would be willing to give up probably a first and another day two pick, but I don't think Howie would give up multiple firsts. Like Howie is Howie. Like Howie's gonna do what Howie's gonna do. But at the end of the day, he's
Three.
he's not worth multiple firsts. I mean, was it all right, here's a great one. Here's a great one, right? Was Darrelle Revis, when Revis got traded from the Jets to Tampa, Revis was coming off that 2010 year. He was unbelievable, or 2011 year. He was unbelievable, right? Shutdown corner. Got traded for a third round pick. The best corner in football that year. Got traded for a third round pick. Micah Parsons is not the best edge rusher in football. So I don't think he's worth multiple firsts. I just don't. I think it's a one and maybe a day two or day three pick. That's it. But Cam, is there anything else that you had to touch on today with the shakeup, and anything else that you had to touch on maybe with the Micah situation, or maybe something you wanted to ask me or the people or whatever about anything football related going into this year?
Honestly, I think the only thing we really got is to thank Kendrick for everything he did in New England and wish him the best for whatever his next step ends up being. That's all
Yeah,
I got.
definitely, definitely prayers up to all the players that got cut too. I mean, Cam and I are realists. Like we know that's your livelihood. Any of you that got cut today, yesterday, the day before, your journey is not over. Shout out Hendon Hooker. Your journey's not over. Just it's just a learning curve. Okay? Some of y'all are gonna go through a learning curve. Some of y'all ain't gonna be in the right scheme. Some of y'all just gotta understand that the NFL is a business. You're gonna have personal relationships with players like Cam and I do all the time, right? But at the end of the day, the NFL is a business, and so is the New England Shakeup. So make sure you guys are following us on all platforms: Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, everything. Stunt. We'll be going live every week. We'll be going live every week on Tuesday. We'll probably do a morning episode, and then we'll probably bring you guys one Friday afternoons as well during the NFL season. Just because, one, Fridays, you're going to see some games this year that are going to be played on Fridays on Prime, which, to the NFL for that because they're just making more money off of us. But at the end of the day, this is the best New England sports podcast. So make sure you guys are following, checking out our socials, and shit. Make sure you guys come and see us week one when we are at Gillette Stadium for Patriots versus Raiders. Guys, this is the New England Shakeup. Alex and Cam and the New England Shakeup out again, guys. Have a great, great Tuesday or Wednesday, and I will see you guys later this week. Peace. Word.